Hey everyone, I'm so glad you could join me today. And I'm here with Denise G. Hi, Denise.
Hi.
I am so excited for you all to meet Denise. She and I have known each other for actually kind of a short time, but she just jumped right in our Eat God's Way cooking program. And she's just having win after win after win and winning her family over. And I just loved her enthusiasm so much and the things that she and her family have been experiencing. So I asked her to have a chat with me just to share what she's been doing and learning in her process. So thanks, Denise, for joining me.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Let's start by you just sharing what you're comfortable sharing about your family, like where you live and how many of them there are that are affected by what you're doing in the kitchen.
Thank you. I am Denise Gilson, and I was originally from California, and we moved here to Virginia. My husband ended up with a promotion, and I have two sons. They're older. Each one of them have two kids. So I have four grandkids. My husband and I have been married for 46 years. After I retired a couple of years ago, I thought, okay, I would like to start learning how to cook and make things more nutritious for my family. One thing led to another, and I thought I was doing good. I'd gain a few pounds and I'd say, okay, I told my husband, we need to go on a diet. We're gaining weight. So we'd lose the weight. And then about 8 months ago, we both started gaining the weight again. And I told my husband, I said, Dave, I'm not going to do a diet. And he just looked at me and said, what? Are you planning on staying like the way we're doing? I said, no, I'm going to learn how to cook nutritious meals. And I said it just like that. And he just looked at me like, okay. So I heard about your program, your traditional cooking school, through a friend of mine at church, Terry Raimondo. She's taken your class and
Yes.
I absolutely love her. Denise, you got to do this. So I said, okay, I'm going to. But I was a little apprehensive because I've watched her do her stuff and I think, oh, that's way over my head. I don't think I could do this. But I thought, I want to do what I did when I was a kid. I want to learn how to swim really bad. So I'm just going to jump in the deep end. And then I do it and the cold water splashes you and you think, what? You just dog paddle to get to the other side. So that's how I was thinking of doing this. I'll just jump in the deep end. Yeah. But then I realized I could do this. I can actually do this. And then I started feeling more peaceful and I started thinking, okay, I'm going to go forward and just do the best I can do. So that's how I ended up here and a little bit about my background.
Oh, I love it. I love those little details. And I think there's so many different kinds of people. There's the people who are like step by step, and then there's the jump in the cold water and get used to it in 5 seconds. But what you found was it actually wasn't so much like jumping in the deep end. And we'll talk about that. So you felt like you didn't know how to cook nutritious food. You'd done diets, but not really learning how to cook healthy. The diets weren't working for you anymore, or they were hard to stick with.
Whenever I would go through the process, I could stick with it. I could eat and do their plan and I would lose the weight. But then after I started transitioning to our food that I was making for our family, I noticed that we started incrementally gaining the weight back. So I thought something's not right here. And I told my husband, of course, I can see areas that we need to improve in, like going out to eat, that type of thing.
Sure.
I told him we're spending way too much money and the food tastes worse than what I can make. So I decided I'm going to follow Terry's advice and come here.
Nice. You just had enough with the things that didn't work and figured there was a gap in your learning and you just needed to get over it.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. I believe that the Lord tells us these things and we can ignore. I've ignored things, but you listened. So that's wonderful. Mm-hmm. Okay. So needed to cook. Fad diets weren't working for you anymore.
Yes.
And you just were like, I'm just going to do it.
Correct.
Okay. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you jumped in when we were having a traditional cooking 28-day challenge. Is that correct?
That's right. I made it the day before the class was going to close, from my understanding. And I didn't know what class to take. When I jumped in, I thought, this looks like what I should take. So I jumped in and started doing the 28-day challenge.
And that's when I started noticing all your wins. You were very good about posting in the group. And you were even honest about, like, I wasn't so sure I would like it. I think it was especially about maybe the chutney. You're like, I wasn't so sure. And then you took a bite and you were like, it was sweet and spicy and it won you over. Tell us a little bit about how the challenge went for you, maybe some of your favorite tasks, just a little bit about the process of doing that.
Going through it each day, I would experience something new. And I started getting to the point where this is exciting. what am I going to do tomorrow? And I thought it was definitely a challenge, not for me personally, just in doing it, but it was challenging and exciting to do something different. As I was doing it, I noticed that things were just becoming much easier. I felt more relaxed instead of being tense. Like, can I do it? Can I not? So that's just how the process went. There was a couple of fun and exciting things that I really appreciated with my family whenever I was cooking things for them, and they really appreciated it. So that made me more encouraged to want to even do more.
Yeah, you did have some fun stories about your family's reactions. I think it would be a great time for you to share them.
I remember one day I was doing a lot. As a grandmother, I've remained really active with the girls. And I remember that day there was so much happening and going on. And the assignment for that day was, I think, the baked oatmeal. I was getting it all perfect so I could take it over to them. And I had completed it. I was so happy. I got it in the car, took it over there. And I can remember praying, saying, Lord, is this really worth it all? I know you want me to eat healthy. I know you want this to be something that will be good for me and my family. But I really hope that this is the right thing that I'm doing. So I took the food over to them and they ate it. And my son walked up to me, and this is unusual. He walked up to me and he said, Mom, and he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, you did so good. This was so
Aw.
delicious. Thank you. And he gave me a hug. I walked out to the car, and honestly, I started tearing up because it was like, okay, Lord, you're answering prayers. Each day is a success. And then for
Yes.
my son to tell me and give me an affirmation that, yes, this is the
Mhm.
correct thing to do. It was nice. So that was
Aw,
one of them. And
fantastic.
yeah. And then my husband one day came home. He does ministry work as service, and he was tired and hungry. I remember making a sandwich with the homemade mayonnaise, the
Mhm.
recipe that you provided. And the first time I failed, but I thought, no, I'm not going to let that get to me. I'm going to do this until I can get it. And I made a sandwich for him, and I thought he's probably not going to eat it because he doesn't eat any mayonnaise other than the store-bought brand that he likes specifically. Let's see, what else did I make that day? Oh, the ranch dressing to also go
Mhm.
along with the salad. So I made that. I set it down for him, and then I came walking into the office. I just didn't even bother. I figured, oh, if he's going to complain, he'll just let me know. But when I came in and sat down, I was getting ready to do my next lesson. I turned around because I heard some sort of mumbling, grumbling. I thought, what is it? He's not going to like it or what? And all I could hear was yum, 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 yum. So, and then he says, oh, this is so good. And then I'm just like sitting back listening to him.
Wow.
And I went in there and I said, you really like it? And he said, this is excellent. He goes, I like this mayonnaise better than the store-bought brand. And for
Wow.
me, that was shocking. Those are some of my best memories, I think.
I love that. It really speaks to me because there is nothing that makes me happier than pleasing somebody I love with something that I did or made.
Yes.
Oh, Denise, that is beautiful. Praise the Lord.
Yes.
So,
Thank
no more store-bought mayonnaise.
No.
That's fantastic. And if I remember right, you bonded with moderator Kim Ladybug over the mayonnaise because you
Yes.
did have some ups and downs. Talk to us a little bit about that.
I think that has been pretty significant in the program. I noticed your moderators are excellent. They give
Yes.
very good advice. And even if it turns out horrible, they still give the positives. And I like that. It was very helpful. For whatever reason, Kim and I
You hit it
clicked with
off.
it. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah, she is.
And
She's such a
Jen, she's
blessing.
excellent too.
Very good. Let's see. The chutney, you were surprised how much you like that. Your husband loved the mayonnaise and the ranch and the
Mhm.
salad and everything that went through it. Your son loved the baked oatmeal.
Yes, the chutney was excellent. And I do remember hesitating, looking at it, saying, okay, I'll give it a try. um,
I know you're busy, even though you've retired, you're active with your family and all that. How did you find it in terms of, because the challenge, there is something every weekday. You get to catch up on the weekend if you fall behind. I'm not sure if you took advantage of that or not, or needed to, but it's like short but intense. How did you find it to fit in with your life?
well, I was surprised because I thought, oh, I don't know if I could do this. It's something brand new. And what if it's really hard? Honestly, it was a breeze. There was only one day that was really difficult. I can remember vacuuming the floor thinking, okay, I got A, B, and C to do. Are you going to
Yeah.
make it? And I'm thinking, okay, is this really worth it? And I kept saying, yes, this is going to be your service to your family. And Lord, please help me guide and direct my day.
Aw,
And it did. It worked out
you did.
excellent. That was only one day I thought, how am I going to do this? But it worked. So the
Awesome.
timing and to do each lesson, it was enough to where you would learn something new, but it was enough to where you could accomplish and get that done. And there was one time, yes, I did use the catching up. Oh, thank goodness for catch up days.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. We try to make it doable, but still make progress. And that is our longer challenge. Our other challenges are 14 days. So the people that do the traditional cooking 28-day challenge tend to be like, I want to learn it all. I'm committing for the long haul, which it sounds like you were. That's what you kind of told your husband. I'm going to learn to cook nutritious food. And then you jumped in. So what are you doing now? What came after the traditional cooking challenge?
Now I'm taking the fundamentals class. I received help from Holly, which she was great. She asked, what are your plans? And I was just simple, honest. I said, Holly, I have no idea. I didn't even know how to make beans. Probably just chuckled inside. I said, I have all canned beans in my pantry. So that's my goal. My daughter-in-law can even make beans. So I'm like, Denise, you got to learn how to cook at least that much. So I did. I forgot about that. That was another success on that. I'll tell you real quickly. My son had a party and he knows I'm a canned bean lady. So he had a dinner party and everybody brought something. And I told him I'm going to bring a bean dish. And he just kind of looked at me like, okay, trying to be polite, I think. And then I came over, I brought my dish, all homemade. The beans, the corn was fresh, everything. It was like a bean, corn, and a vinaigrette and a bunch of vegetables
Mhm.
inside.
Delicious.
And it ended up being the hit of his dinner party.
Oh my.
Because I cannot believe what you're doing. And I said, yep, no more canned beans. So that was a success for me.
For sure, Denise. That's amazing. So ditch the mayonnaise, ditch the ranch dressing, ditch the canned
Mhm.
beans. You are turning over a new leaf. Ah,
Yes.
so neat. And what about any benefits that you've experienced personally? We know you've won your son and your husband over.
Yes, thank you. I have. I think the benefits for me is just actually finally understanding the process and what to do and not to be so fearful of traditional cooking. It's actually easier than what people, I think, anticipate, at least people who are like me, just totally green and do the process type things or prepackaged. It's very simple.
Wonderful. And how are you feeling?
I'm actually doing much better. I think I went through a process, maybe I didn't, but I think I went through a detox process. There for a
Mm,
couple of weeks, I felt a little strange. And I think a lot of the items that I were eating weren't healthy. And it's finally starting to release. And
oh,
so
good.
this week, I'm actually feeling pretty good. So the more and more healthy I get,
Yeah.
I think I was feeling that release from.
For sure. That happens so often. I know that everybody's like, oh, I feel great immediately. But for a lot of people, your body is changing its fuel and its stimulants. And I think more people than we realize go through what you just said, which is maybe feeling a little worse before you feel better. But you knew where you were headed. So you stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Correct.
And you were mentioning something to me about sugary snacks.
Yes, I eat a lot less sugary snacks right now. I told myself, let's just stick to the good, clean food and avoid the sugars. I'm cutting out the sugars. My poor husband is like looking the pantry, and one
Oh,
day he opened it up and he's been very supportive. And he jokingly said, I think I created a monster. Because he's not seeing the things that he used to see. And then he sort of laughed. He goes, no, I understand. This is good.
this is good. Yeah. Very good, Denise. So let's see. So you're going through Eat God's Way fundamentals now. You told me it's a slower pace for you than the challenge. It's a slower pace for everyone when they go through the class than the challenge, which is nice because we can't sustain every day,
Right.
especially when you're changing your habits. And do you have anything else on your radar? Anything else that's come up for you that you really want to learn after fundamentals?
You have so many good classes, and there's some I just want to jump into. But I told myself, I think I ought to stick with more the fundamental type items for me at this point in time, so I can be successful with the other classes. So I thought about taking like something as simple as the pressure cooking class. The reason why is whenever I first started making my beans, I've never used it before and I didn't know how. And when I depressurized, it was a shock. I'm like, what?
It
So
is
I
scary
told
the first
myself,
time.
yes. So I told myself, you're going to take that class and learn how to do it.
Yes.
So there will be no more surprises.
Oh, Denise, I'm so proud of you. I just think it's commendable because you're so honest about your fears and stuff that's like you're hesitant about, but you're still willing to learn and change. And that's what's needed.
Absolutely.
Great job.
Thank you.
Does anything else come to mind that you want to share about your experience so far?
I had one other item. It was the day when we were assigned to cook all 4 items for the day, homemade, everything homemade. And I thought, okay, I can do this. But I chose to do the ice cream. And I had an old ice cream maker from like 20, 30 years ago. And I didn't think I'd need to use it for whatever reason. I didn't think about it. So I pulled it out. It wasn't working right. And I didn't want to change my assignment. I said, I was going to do this, so I'm going to do it. Stayed up very, very late that night trying to get that ice cream done. Everything else turned out perfect. So then finally got it, at least a scoop worth, so I could do the picture and show I did it. And the next day I told my husband, I got a scoop worth. He just looked at me and chuckled. Well, after I finished the class and graduated, he came home one day and he had this big box. And I said, what is that? He said,
Ice
this
cream
is your
maker.
new ice cream maker.
Oh, what
And,
a beautiful gift.
and I thought, how precious. So he knew that I worked so hard to do that one
Yes.
scoop. He said, now you will be able to get a lot of ice cream.
He is so supportive. That
Yeah.
is really great. You are blessed, Denise. So is he.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing. This has been so fun. I'll close with just one question, which is thinking about yourself or thinking about other women or other families you know, who do you think would also enjoy Eat God's Way cooking program?
Oh my goodness. I think everyone would enjoy this. I've been telling everyone. I've told my parents in California. I've told my sister, my daughter-in-laws, my sons, and everybody that I've run across because it's
Oh, thank
excellent
you.
way to learn. And just the amount of information you provide people, it's just absolutely amazing. And it's something where everyone can digest and learn through the process. In addition, what I wanted to say is that I also like that it's not like hardcore, you got to do this and that's it. It's an easy pace where anybody could sit down, read and understand the material. And the material you provide, it has statistics, it has science, it has nutrition. It's a plethora of information. To me, it's just amazing. I love reading the articles. Anybody could do this. Even a grandma like me who's rarely cooked before anything homemade.
Oh, Denise, I'm so proud of you. And I know you just said a grandma like me who's never cooked before. You are obviously young at heart. And I don't know how old you are, and you don't have to say that. But the point I want to make is it is never too late to learn, whether you're 16 or 30 or 48 or 72 or 83. It's never
Right.
too late. You are an inspiration.
Thank you. And thank you so much for what you've done. You're changing our lives, our family's life, anyways.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Denise.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
For those of you listening, if you're interested in our Eat God's Way cooking program, there is information with this video. You can email or text for more information. There's no pressure. We can see if it might be a good fit for you and or give you some information. God bless you all. Bye-bye.